text. Now let's talk about headings. So in HTML, we have 6 heading elements. H1, we have H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6. So let's see what we get. So heading 1 represents the most important heading, and heading 6 represents the least important heading. Now, one common mistake that I see amongst a lot of people is that they choose these headings based on their size. So if they want to have a heading with this size, they would just use heading 4. That is not how you're supposed to use headings, because the size can always be changed with CSS. It's a matter of styling. We should use these headings to create a hierarchy. So every web page should have one and only one H1 element. This heading represents what this page is all about. Now, nothing happens if we have multiple. After we use H1, then we should use H2 subsections. There we should use H3 elements. Some characters are reserved in HTML, and to display them, we have to use a special notation. For example, let's say we want to wrap the word HTML with angle brackets. See what's going to happen. So I type a left angle bracket and a right angle bracket. See what happened? VS Code thought we were adding an HTML element, so it automatically generated the closing tag. We don't want this, so let's delete it. Now, back in the browser. Look, where's our HTML word? It's not here because the browser interpreted this as an HTML tag. This is not what we want. We want to display this exactly as is. So to solve this problem, we're going to use HTML entities. All these entities start with an ampersand and end with a semicolon. In between these two characters, we type a few characters that determine the type of the HTML entity. So we have an entity for displaying the less than sign. That is LT, short for less than. Now let's remove this. Similarly, we have another HTML entity for displaying the greater than sign. So we type an ampersand GT, which is short for greater than, followed by a semicolon. Now, back to the browser. That's exactly what we wanted. Perfect. Another common HTML entity is the copyright symbol. So, at the end, I'm going to type an ampersand, copy, and a semicolon. Now, take a look. Here's our copyright symbol. Beautiful. Now, we have so many entities in HTML, and quite frankly, you don't need to memorize any of them. In fact, you're not going to use 99% of them. But in case you're curious, let me show you the complete list. So, on Google, search for HTML entities. And on this second link, dev.w3.org, you can see the complete list of these entities. So, as you can see, there are so many entities, and honestly, I have never used any of them. The only ones I have used are these three plus non-breaking space. Let me show you what that is about. So I'm going to delete this line and generate some dummy text. So we add a paragraph element. Now to generate some dummy text, we type lorem followed by the number of words we want to generate. Let's say 50. Tab. Look, this is some dummy text in Latin. Now let's preview it in the browser. So here's what we get. Let's imagine that the last word on the first line and the first word on the second line should be stick together. Here we have a line break in between these two words. We want to prevent that. So I'm going to copy this word. Now, here in VS Code, let's bring up the search panel by pressing Command and F on Mac or Control and F on Windows. Now we paste this word. Okay, here it is. We want to make sure that these two words are always together. There is no line break in between them. So I'm going to replace this regular space with a non-breaking space, which is an HTML entity. So we type an ampersand, NBSP, which is short for non-breaking space, followed by a semicolon. Now take a look. So both these words are on the second line. So this is all about HTML entities. Next, we're going to talk about links. Almost every web page on the internet has links to other pages or websites. To create these links, we use the anchor element. So we type A, that is short for anchor, and then press tab. Now every anchor element should have an href attribute. Href is short for hypertext reference. I know, it's a mouthful. It basically means a URL